helps us distinguish them from voluntary standards that are very technical and they're not set or managed with sustainability objectives in mind, and they have no monitoring and evaluation systems in place to assess their effectiveness, right? The final point before I start is that I wanted to bring lots of examples in this presentation. So I've included lots of screenshots, and please do not try to read through all of the screenshots. There is no point. I'm going to be referring to them, and I've included links so that when the slides are circulated, you can actually go and read up about these examples in a bit more detail. So how can sustainability systems help in the transition to a circular economy? Next slides, please. I think the first thing to note here is that, we know that the transition to a circular bioeconomy will increase the demand for biomass, and it's imperative that demand is met in a sustainable way. But what does that mean? How are we defining sustainability? In the EU, we can find a really good example of all this in the transition to clean energy, where sustainability criteria for biomass used in bioenergy has been revised a couple of times, and it's become more stringent and more comprehensive every time as we become aware of the negative impact that the rapid increase in demand for biomass could cause. Still, it is a restricted view of sustainability compared to what some of the standards that are recognized by RED, what they cover in their standards. So if you look at standards like SBP here, the Sustainable Biomass Program, they are developed through extensive multi-stakeholder consultations that identify the sustainability hotspots in that specific sector and what the sustainable practices should be. And therefore, when you compare the two, you see that the BSP standard would include a lot of things that go beyond the sustainability criteria in the RED, for example, protection of human rights or explicit reference to free, prior, and informed consent for Indigenous people. So I think that's one way that it's a valuable. That is a valuable contribution from sustainability systems, the fact that they develop these very comprehensive standards that are freely available and that can be a very useful resource for companies, governments, and civil society as they try to understand where to set the bar for their own understanding of sustainability in a sector. Next slide, please. The second way I think that they can contribute is as a source of knowledge and experience. So many of the systems have been around for a very long time, and they had refined their systems and they have become experts in their sectors. That experience also makes them aware that they cannot solve any of today's global challenges by themselves, and they see collaboration as key. So we see them often involved in different types of initiatives. Here I've just picked one that came in my LinkedIn feed, where they get involved in initiatives like this plastic reboot program that is led by UNEP and UNDP and UNIDO, WWF, the Global Environmental Facility, and where RSB has become involved because they want to ensure that the materials that we're producing as plastic alternatives are actually sustainable. So this is a really good example of how we have a system that has improved over time and that has acquired a lot of experience and knowledge, and they're very happy and willing and excited to contribute that knowledge across in different initiatives. I would say that the participation of a lot of schemes in the pilots run by this project as we develop the monitoring system is another great example of that willingness to exchange that knowledge. Next slide, please. So one of the more obvious contributions of VSS is the value they offer through robust certification programs. The function of verifying that producers and other actors in the chain are complying with the criteria in their standards. Auditing is probably the best known assurance tool, and there's lots of work going on to improve the effectiveness of audits while at the same time reducing the cost and the burden. So lots of investment in data, in technology, in developing what we call risk-based approaches to assurance, which is really using all of the data that is available to be able to target audits and make them more effective. I liked this quote that I found on the Rainforest Alliance website that also explains that, you know, there's a plethora of assurance tools. Auditing is just one of the tools in the toolbox, and that a lot of it has to do really with engaging with the producers and the operators along the chain, building that capacity as well, and that is what leads to improvement, and that's where compliance really happens. Next one, please. So any transition to more sustainable models will need to bring consumers along. And I think this is another area where sustainability systems have a big contribution to make. They have a long track record of managing consumer-facing claims to help consumers distinguish products that are more sustainable than others. Now, green claims is, of course, a very hot topic these days, and it's really interesting. It's been really interesting to see how the systems have been engaging with EU policymakers to help operationalize the new directives based on their experience managing all these claims and making sure that it's done in a way that it will be credible and that it will be sustainable and feasible. And I noticed that you had one of your thematic webinars was on green claims. I'm looking forward to going back there and seeing if some of that is captured here. Next one, please. I know I'm rushing through this. I expect lots of questions after the presentation, but I want to make sure that I'm covering some of the aspects that I think are useful in this conversation. Sorry, next one, please. Did I? Oh, sorry, I missed. Please go back. Go back. I think I switched the slides in the last minute. So this one, thank you. This one is about how sustainability systems have understood the need to provide incentives for producers to make sure that they are adopting those sustainable practices, but in a way that makes economic sense to them as well. I put here a link to a platform called Evidencia, and this is a platform that shares evidence of information on the impact that sustainability systems have in different areas. I put the link here on a page that shares evidence, and this is a lot of academic literature here, but also some gray literature. It shares evidence on the benefits from certification at different places in the supply chain. So I think this is also an area that, you know, they can make a huge contribution. All the thought process, all the mechanisms that have been trialed over the years to make sure that there are incentives that go back to the producers to bring them along in the process. Sorry, now move forward. This is the claims bit that I was talking about, and now we can come here to offering scalable solutions to accelerate the transition to a bioeconomy. So here's just a couple of examples on things that are already proving quite successful. So we have, for example, FSC's ability to certify recycled material, which has enabled many businesses to meet their sustainability commitments. We have Bonsucro certification of sugarcane that has helped companies reach important milestones, like this one from Tetra Pak last week, where they announced a reduction of 300,000 tons of carbon emissions over the last 10 years from switching fossil-based polymers in their packaging with Bonsucro certified polymers derived from sugarcane. And I put another example here that is about a book and claim registry that RSB, the Roundtable for Sustainable Materials, has developed to help accelerate the transition to sustainable fuels in the aviation industry. Next one, please. Just a bit mindful of time here. Just to say that, you know, sustainability systems understand that there's more that can be done, and they are exploring new innovations so they can build new solutions for companies looking to move that way. And a good example is FSC, where they are looking at their existing normative framework, which includes this chain of custody certification. And I found it interesting that they are exploring within the revision of that chain of custody, how they could include new circularity concepts. So for example, things like take-back systems and leasing models, how their chain of custody certification could help could extend into those models so that it can accelerate circularity that way. There's also a lot of effort focused on traceability and improving traceability that is more closely linked to the physical material that is moving along the chain. And a good example of this is from Textile Exchange in the textile sector. And they've just recently launched this new platform called Trackit that allows them to track all of the transactions in a much faster way, in a much credible way, and in a way that links the different actors in the supply chain. So I'll put the link there if you want more information on that one. Next one, please. And just finally, because I didn't introduce my organization, why should you know about ISEAL? So next one, please. For those of you who've never heard about us, our mission is to accelerate positive change by improving the impacts of ambitious sustainability systems and their partners. And we wish to create a world where markets are a force of good, where production and consumption, resource management and trade benefit people and the planet. Next one, please. We are an organization that has been around for more than 20 years. We do lots and lots of things, but one of the things that we're best known for is defining what credibility looks like for sustainability systems, focused on the operational components of a system. So I talked a little bit about how you've got the standard, you've got the assurance model that goes to verify the standard, you've got all of the claims that we talked about, and you also have a monitoring evaluation system that has to go with that system to make sure that it understands its effectiveness and it improves its effectiveness over time. So we put all of these good practices that support this in a code, and that's a free resource that is publicly available on our website. I've put the QR code straight there. And next one, please. We are a membership organization, and that actually makes us very unique in the sense that there's no other organization that has these members together. We're very close to these members. We engage with them all the time on different subjects, and that gives us, I think, a very useful perspective into that world. I will leave it there. Bang on time, if I can say that. Thank you very much. Happy to take any questions after. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. That was very insightful. Thank you very much. And before proceeding to the audience's question, I'll pass the floor to Ms. Karthikeyan. So could you please